morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Hopefully everybody had a great Father's Day. Welcome you into a new week of sports. Lots to talk about, as always, and I welcome in my co-host, Boxing Hall of Fame writer, Michael Spink's biographer, Jack Hirsch. How are you, Jack?
Excellent, Keith. Excellent. Good Father's Day for me. Hope you had a good one, and
I told you
everyone had a good one, whether they were dads or not.
I was just going to yell at you that I told you I had a good Father's Day before the show, like you yell at me.
Yeah. Well, you asked me how I was doing, and I told you I was fine before the show, so I decided to go along with your flow like we haven't talked before the show. And
everybody wants to know how Jack Hirsch is doing. That's why I ask you live. So, we had a great fun.
Jack's doing good. Jack's doing so. It's Jack's not in a slump as far as he feels.
There you go. Well, a belated happy Father's Day to you, Jack, and all our fans, because I had to miss my shows yesterday. I didn't get on the round table or the Sunday Stream of Consciousness because I had my brother in town for the first time in 3 years for my dad's Father's Day. So we had a lot of fun. We had a good weekend. Lots to chat about in the world of sports. Not as intense maybe as it's been the last few weeks with the NBA Finals over, the NHL over, but the World Cup is still going. We got the NBA draft. Let's start with the World Cup. The USA wins, I think, 2-0 over Australia Friday. They're guaranteed a moving on to the knockout round now. And is interest building? Is interest really building now in this World Cup locally here in the U.S.?
Yeah, it's kind of, but it's a wait and see type thing. The USA was expected to get to the knockout round. It wasn't a certainty, but they were expected. And it was nice for everyone to see the USA have success in the couple of games they played to get to the knockout round. They were in a weak division, so the expectations were high as far as the next round, which is going to take place. I think it's Thursday night.
Late Thursday, yeah.
Thursday night, right? We have actually the Boxing Writers Association of America's dinner Thursday night. So as the dinner is winding down, the USA on the East Coast is going to be starting their game. So it's ironic, like the timing and that. And let's see how they do in the knockout round. If they win Thursday night, I think interest starts. I mean, if you want to make a comparison to the 1980 USA Olympic hockey team, there wasn't a great amount of interest going into the tournament.
Oh, they
won their first. They won their first game. People were eyeing them, the USA team, and then when they beat Czechoslovakia in the second game, people are paying even more attention, and then it kind of gained all this momentum, this tidal wave, and we know the story how it wound up. But if the USA could win the World Cup, I mean, that would be harder to do than winning an Olympic tournament. Because I'll tell you, for the simple reason, every country is sending their best. And their best, everyone plays soccer in those countries. That's their national sport in the vast majority of countries. Here in the USA, soccer is not our national sport. More people interested in baseball, football, and basketball. But in virtually all the other countries, you ask them, what's the number one sport? What's the sport that the kids grow up playing more than anything else? That's soccer. So it would be like an off-the-rails achievement if the USA ever won the World Cup. I mean, that would truly be historic.
I'm not the biggest soccer fan in the world. I am every 4 years because I root for my country, right? And there's interest there for me. And I don't let my granddaughter kick a soccer ball, quite frankly. She has to pick up balls and throw them to me. So, but this is good.
Yesterday I was watching some of the games. I was watching Iran, for example, against Belgium. Game ended in the tie there. But it's strange, the moods in the countries. In some countries, most countries, everything shuts down during the World Cup. Schools are closed off. There are open TV sets in every classroom. Businesses are closed. Everyone's watching the game. And I remember a long, long time ago when the World Cup was being played and I was teaching in the school, The TV sets one on. The game's going on. No, and Iran beat the United States, in that particular game.
Yeah.
And I saw the news later on in the evening, and they were celebrating in Iran. We beat the United States, but no one in the United States so much as cared. No one cared in the slightest, unless they were hardcore soccer fans. But now I think it's a little different. I think national pride comes in a bit, I mean, in the United States, we've had it in other countries of winning the World Cup. But look, players have gotten killed by their countries for, that's this play in Colombia. He accidentally kicked the ball in his own goal in the past tournament, and they killed him or something. It's crazy.
And again, I think if they win their first game in a knockout match, I think the fervor will get even.
It will get there. Yeah, it'll get there. It's like wait and see, Keith. Now we've gotten to the point with the USA. They did what was expected to get to the knockout round. Now let's see, are they serious contenders to make a run at the World Cup title? The feeling is that they're not, Keith. I got to be honest. The feeling is that they're not. But certain teams have disappointed us so far. Like Spain was one of the favorites, and they haven't looked good.
They got beat, by Cape Verde. I was going to talk about Cape Verde, one of the new entries. There's been a lot of some criticism about the expansion of this World Cup to 48 teams, but some of the fervor in some of these new countries like Cape Verde and Curacao it's awful. But Cape Verde beat Spain last week, and they tied Uruguay yesterday. They're probably moving on to the knockout round in their first try ever.
Most people know Cape Verde's a country. I mean, come on.
I didn't know Cape Verde was.
What is this? I mean, that's like Austin Wells catching for the Dominican team during the World Baseball Classic, getting interviewed. I mean.
Well,
I shouldn't say that. That was more of an exaggeration with Austin Wells.
No, it's not actually. The participation requirements are exactly the same, I think, for the World Cup of soccer as it is for baseball, because you just have to have ancestry in that country. There's a lot of guys playing for the U.S. that are from Europe and from South America, Mexico.
They probably couldn't make their teams, and they were going to get cut so they can be in the World Cup.
Right.
You know the truth is, Matt, I don't blame them if they weren't going to be able to participate and they weren't going to make the cut of their primary country's team. If they have some link to another one experienced World Cup play, let them.
Yeah, the coach is from I think Argentina as well, the U.S. coach. So again, there's a worldwide feel on this USA team as well as the others.
I don't get that. You can't get a coach from the USA born and with the experience.
Well, look at the history, right? And
Argentina. I mean, it's
I think it's
whatever.
I think it's.
But good luck to the USA. But we'll talk more about them a lot more if they come through Thursday night. If not, we'll give them a mention and speak. But let's see how it unfolds for the USA.
As they get into the knockout round, this will get bigger and bigger, obviously. Still in the NBA, though, we talked a lot of NBA, obviously. More NBA than we probably normally would with the Knicks' great run through the playoffs. But the draft has snuck up on us here. It's tomorrow night. Lots of stuff still floating out there. There was a couple of trades. Wiggins got traded from the Thunder, and Trae Young is opted out of the Wizards. I don't think there's any big surprise there.
Trae Young's going to re-sign with the Wizards. They're counting heavily on him. And Trae Young would be wise to sign with the Wizards because Trae Young is not the type of fit-in player you want. He has to have the ball in his hands. He has to be a focal part of the offense, and he'll be that at Washington, at least in the short term, depending on how he does.
Is Trae
Anthony Davis, then? They have the number 1 overall pick.
Well, he's going to play
a little flame that's, brewing, a little flame that's going on with the Washington Wizards. They're a team to keep your eye on.
If you're Trae Young and the way your career trajectory has kind of been going the wrong way the last several seasons, do you opt out of this almost $50 million contract next year? He's going to be a free agent. He'll
get the money elsewhere. No, he'll get the money elsewhere. some contending team is going to pay him because he'll be their best option to give that team like an immediate surge. But keep in mind, Trae Young has a great individual game, but does it translate into winning? When he was with the Atlanta Hawks,
thought not.
They were mediocre, and then when they traded him to Washington, they were better without him.
Sometimes addition by subtraction is the best way to go, right?
Yeah. I mean, we see that with Morant, with the Grizzlies. He's a great individual talent, and I'm not saying he can't help teams, and he would be an appealing player to have on any team, but you might be better off without him.
There's the Giannis saga, which seems to go on endlessly, right? They haven't made a trade. They've offered. They reached out. They reached out, from what I read this weekend, to Boston, Miami, Golden State, Minnesota, asking them to make their best offers. The rumors I heard this morning is the Miami Heat they thought they were very close. They'd offered a bunch of players. I'm trying to find the players right now. Here it is. Harrow, Ware, Jacquez Jr., Jovic, and the 13th pick. And the Bucks said, put Bam Adebayo in there, and you got to trade.
That would make sense for Miami.
You're trading 5 guys and the number 1 pick. These guys are all contributors.
Tyler Hero's a pretty good player in his own right. Very good player.
Yeah.
13th pick, it has value. You and I have been on the same page in the past about the NBA draft, thinking draft choices in the NBA, unless it's one of the top few choices, don't nearly have the same value as an NFL pick. I think we're going to see that starting to change because teams are drafting a lot more wisely, and players in the middle of the first round, have a chance of being much more productive than they've been in the past. So the 13th overall pick, could have some value, could have some real value, but it's not a deal for Milwaukee. What is Milwaukee? Milwaukee doesn't need a bunch of things. And I don't mean this doesn't reflect on the players Miami offers, and I'm not giving them as an example, not at all. So no one get back to me and say, how can you say that about the players on the Heat? Because this remark has nothing to do with it. But I remember John Sterling when he had his talk show, and I couldn't stand John Sterling when he had his talk show. I loved him as a baseball announcer, though. But one of the calls stuck out what he said that made sense. These fans kept proposing these crazy trades to get an elite player, and they name a few names you could trade for that player. And John Sterling said, why would that team want someone else's junk? You're giving them a whole pile of junk for something really good. It doesn't make sense. Keith,
if I'm Miami, I insist.
Like I got my shiny new suit, and you're coming with me with 4 of your sweatshirts, and you want to make a deal 4 for 1. I'm turning it down.
So if you're Milwaukee, you don't make this trade without getting Bam back, I take it?
You have to have Bam in the deal. It has to be an impact deal. Now, Pat Riley has gone on record in the past, and I don't believe Pat Riley at all what he said. But Pat Riley has said during the season, late in the season, about the possibility, of any deals with Bam. And he says Bam is completely off limits. He's not going to listen to offers. He says, look, if San Antonio wants to give us a bunch of first-round draft choices, like 8 players, and they want to give us Wemby, I'll listen to that. He said, but of course, he's not insulting Bam. Anyone, obviously, San Antonio's not going to do it. You want to know something? If San Antonio called and they offered Wemby for Bam, Riley would do it in the snap of a finger. He couldn't hit the button making the trade quick enough.
100%.
But the point is, Bam is very, very good, and no one is going to. And to get Giannis for Bam, does it make Milwaukee a little bit better? Probably marginally. It probably does. But does it? Who's it helping? Who's it helping more? I think it helps Milwaukee more because they're getting nearly equal value in a sense.
I think it would help both teams, because if I'm Miami, if I'm Pat Riley, I'm giving them whatever they want for Bam. I give up everything, because they're not going to be any better than 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, whatever. They're going to be in that. They're going to stay in that slot forever unless they do something drastic. And blowing it all up and starting around Giannis, who's still what, 28, 29, 28?
I think Giannis is 30.
Is he 30 now? Still, I think he's.
Well, if you look up his age, he's not 28, 29. Yeah.
I thought he was
Giannis is 30, 31.
All right, so maybe that might change my equation a little bit, but
I think it's like 31. Yeah,
you just have to, you got to totally change the dynamic there. Or you're just going to stay stuck in that play-in or just out of the play-in rut forever, because this team, they're never going to draft high enough to get one of the top.
That's
guys.
it. That you called it perfectly, Keith. You called it so perfectly with what you just said. Miami is what they have now. They're going to be in this rut. They're going to be, when I say a rut, maybe they'll be good enough to snatch the 6th spot if they play well. And maybe they can be a playoff team that's going to get eliminated, before, they're not going to the finals. Either the first round, second round, whatever. That's going to be about their ceiling. They're not a threat to win the championship. They're not a threat to go to the finals with how they're constituted.
Yeah.
And, with Bam on the team. But if they trade Bam for Giannis, it doesn't really make them, a championship contender either. They've got to add to that. But if they could combine Bam with Giannis, give up everything else, you build around those two guys.
Well, even if you give him up, again, so if you give up everything, you just start all over and build around Giannis, you may not be good right away, but the stars follow stars, right? Guys are going to want to go play with Giannis. And we saw it with LeBron and other guys. Guys want to go places and play with other stars. And at worst, if the worst happens, what, do they miss the playoffs? So what? I mean, again, they're going out in the first round anyway.
You said something that no one is talking about. You mentioned the name, LeBron James. He's a free agent who could have a major impact on the Miami Heat. Major impact. If he went there, let's say this deal doesn't come off. LeBron's still a very, very good player, and he's going to be a good player next year. He's going to be no worse than a good player next year. We agree on that, right?
I agree. Yeah, I agree 100%.
Okay. But the fans of Miami were so ungrateful, and Riley too, when LeBron left. Their hostility towards him turned them off. Now, had the fans of Miami been nice about LeBron wanting to go home after being there 4 years and going to the finals all 4 years and winning 2 championships, LeBron's mindset would have been different. I wouldn't mind going back to Miami. We had a nice 4 years. My family enjoyed living in Miami. Beautiful climate, this and that. But the way Riley acted towards LeBron leaving in the organization and the fans viciously booing LeBron, has no desire to go back there after he was.
Are they close enough to winning anyway for him? He wants to go to a team.
If you add LeBron to what they have now, they are definitely an improved team. They go from a play-in to a playoff team.
Are they top of the East with LeBron? I don't.
Not quite. But they're kind of in the back end of the mix. Okay, how's that? The back end of the mix, because when it could elevate them, for example, over the Philadelphia 76ers, the Heat. If they had LeBron, and it would put them maybe a little behind the Boston Celtics and the Cleveland Cavaliers. But if they played well, it would give them a little hope. It would give them some hope to come out of the East. Put it that way.
Yeah, I don't see him going back to Miami either.
No, not the way they acted. He's probably going to be in LA. And if somehow the question with LeBron with LA is LA going to handle the negotiations with care? If they lowball LeBron salary-wise, if LeBron feels disrespected there's a good chance he goes elsewhere. There's a good chance he goes elsewhere. The way things stand now, LeBron would like to stay with the Lakers, but even LeBron needs to be shown some love because LeBron feels he sacrificed his game last year. With Luka and Reeves were out, LeBron carried the team in a sense for a while, and he wants to have that respect. If the Lakers come to LeBron and they say, LeBron, you tell us the number you want. We value you. We're going to give you the number you want. But, and then they should say to him, but if the number's too high, keep this in mind. It hampers our ability to get, other players under the cap, so on. And LeBron might take a lot less money because he might feel, okay, I have a fortune now with all my endorsements. And the idea that they would have given me the money, I'll take less because I'm doing it on my terms.
I think the Lakers or anybody else are going to have to temper what they're willing to pay LeBron. You're right, because you can't just have him and nobody else. And he's going to have to understand.
No, but LeBron wouldn't take, I don't think LeBron would say, okay, I'll take the $50 million and you can't get the other players. I think LeBron has so much money, he would voluntarily take less.
I think so too. It may
not
be
LA. Golden State would like LeBron to go there, but that would be a version of George Allen's Over the Hill Gang. Can they win with LeBron? I don't think so.
You'd have LeBron and Draymond and Steph and Jimmy Butler coming.
It's an older group. I don't like it. It reminds me too much, if he went there, of when Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce came to the Nets. Guys, they still were good, but that wasn't the place for them. They won, but they won championship, contenders. They were like over the hill a little bit.
It would have been interesting to see LeBron, Steph, Draymond, and Jimmy Butler play together at close to their prime. That would have been an interesting group of players.
Jimmy Butler, yeah. I mean, it's a veteran group. Maybe LeBron would join them then. They'll think they can win. And I just don't see a championship coming out of it. Bottom line is any team in the West has to go through OKC, San Antonio. But I'll tell you where the perfect spot for LeBron could actually be. And this sounds crazy. He's not going to go there. You let him go to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And they are good enough. They've become good enough to come out of the West and win the West because Anthony Edwards, Rudy Gobert would be dedicated with LeBron there. And when Gobert shows up, he's really good. Julius Randle could still play. Dom DiVincenzo, who missed out on the Knicks, championship.
Poor guy.
A heck of a player. He had the Achilles injury coming back. And
that would be an
they got pieces on the bench as well. You send LeBron to that team, he's a difference maker. But if LeBron wants a championship, the place to go would be San Antonio. 100%. As we talked in the past show, he has an excuse. They need a veteran leader to join that team, and that could be an excuse. LeBron's going to be criticized if he goes most places. If he goes back to Cleveland, people accept it. If he goes to Golden State, I guess they'll accept it. But I don't know. I think he'll wind up back in LA when all's said and done.
He's going to get accused of chasing a ring, but is he really chasing rings when you've already got that many? You're not really chasing.
LeBron is into legacy, Keith. He thinks about that all the time. It's frustrating to LeBron that he's considered a step behind MJ in the public perception. And there's nothing, and he's tried to elevate himself. The only way LeBron is going to, at this point, be considered ahead of MJ ultimately is if he keeps playing and he puts all these records so far out of reach that future generations are going to put him ahead of MJ. Future generations change the way things are looked at. I'm going to tell you, right after Muhammad Ali, won his last fight against Leon Spinks, he lost 2 after. If you got people together, 100 people, and asked who was greater, Muhammad Ali or Joe Louis, Joe Louis would have overwhelmingly been given the vote. Overwhelmingly. Now, you tell the modern generation Joe Louis, Muhammad Ali, it's Ali overwhelmingly.
Well, most of us didn't see Joe Louis. You did. Saw Joe
No,
Louis.
well, it's a good one, Keith. I wasn't born when he last fought, but I've seen him on tape, yeah.
The draft itself, I mean, the NBA draft is good players come out of this that surprise us, right? But there's like, at most, I would say there's 3 guys that are can't miss, and that might be iffy. Cam Boozer's, DJ, the kid from BYU, and Peterson, and there's question marks everywhere. Boozer might be the most sure thing, and he's probably going. He's probably going to 3. And after that, it's a crapshoot. I mean, the Nets are going to have a choice between the kid from Arkansas that you mentioned,
and
the Illinois guard who's a freshman, and I don't know about his athleticism either. So, the last I looked at it, it looked like I'm trying to think of the kid's name. Adipa Batanza, I think is his name from.
He's like our number 1. We don't know who the Wizards are taking yet.
He's going 1 or 2, and if he goes to Utah, he's staying in Utah. So that'd be an interesting slot for him. Peterson is depending on what draft you look at, he's 1 or 2, and then Batanza is the other one. But Peterson's got a lot of questions about his conditioning and his attitude and a lot of different things at the time at Kansas. If I'm any of these NBA teams, I'm probably taking Cam Boozer because he's a sure thing. No attitude problems, no health problems really. Are draft picks as valuable as they have been in other?
It could be. I mean, listen, last year the number 1 overall pick was another Duke player. You know, that's where Boozer's from, of course, and Cooper Flag.
He's head and shoulders above Cam Boozer, I think, as far as potential in the NBA. Cam Boozer will be a solid player. I don't think he's going to be a superstar in this league.
No, Cam Boozer's not going to be a superstar, but Cam Boozer's going to be a very good player. You know, and Cam Boozer will be the type of player who'll be something like the 3rd best play on a championship team. Not bad. That type of play. I'm just trying to prorate what he could be. You're right. Cam Boozer is the surest thing. And Cam Boozer is not going to flop.
I mean, only thing.
What the worst case scenario on Cam Boozer is he's going to be a solid player, good player. The worst case scenario, he's not going to be a great player per se, but he might give great contributions to any team. I mean, you want him in there, Cam Boozer. This is a guy who's a building block type player. I don't mean you build around them like you do Cooper Flag, but he's a building block player.
That's fair.
I'm going to tell you, and if I am the Milwaukee Bucks, I check out what some of these teams picking on the top of the draft. The Memphis Grizzlies, for example, have been linked to Cam Boozer at number 3.
Mm-hmm.
I would let them know if this player falls to you, I'll trade you Giannis, and I'll get someone like Cam Boozer. I'll get a young player who's going to be an outstanding starter for me for years, and maybe Memphis feels they could contend for a playoff spot or something. I don't know. There was talk last year, and I was totally against it, and a lot of people have thought, well, if Milwaukee calls Dallas and they'll trade Giannis for the number 1 overall pick, that was Cooper Flag, a lot of people thought, Dallas should do it. I was dead set against it. And as it turned out right now, if Milwaukee made the same call, Dallas would say, you crazy? Cooper Flag's off limits. I'm not trading him for Giannis.
No, I'm not trading Cooper Flag for maybe anybody.
But a lot of people would have done that before the draft last year, before they took Cooper Flag. Everyone knew Dallas was obviously taking Cooper Flag.
Would you trade anybody in the league for Cooper Flag right now? I said before, maybe Wemby. After watching him in the finals, I'm not sure that I would trade Cooper Flag for Wemby.
Yeah, I would trade Cooper. I would trade Cooper Flag if I'm Dallas, if I could get Wemby. Yeah, because Wemby, again, if Wemby doesn't develop and get any better, what you have is darn good.
He's a good player, great player.
No. He's more than defensively. He's a great player.
Yeah.
You know, and Wemby right now is better than Cooper Flagg is right now. I mean, if you want to just do a comparison at the moment, not even talk about potential.
Well, he's got 3 years in the league, and Flagg's got 1. I think you're going to see.
Come on. I mean, don't tell me if you're Dallas
next year. Cooper Flagg is going to be a superstar in this league next year.
Well, Wemby's already the face of the NBA.
Well, for now,
in a way, yeah.
For now, just don't change the logo.
No, I wouldn't Cooper Flagg. No, I wouldn't trade Cooper Flagg for anyone. I mean, but you could look at players on other teams. If you're OKC, would you trade SGA for Cooper Flagg? You might not want to mess with that. If you're the Pistons and you get a call, they offer you Cooper Flagg for Cade Cunningham, you might not want to do that. You know, you don't like to give up your star players.
Right? We're not trading Brunson for Cooper Flagg either.
No, exactly. Oh, boy. Can you imagine San Antonio calls up the Knicks and they offer Wemby for Brunson one-on-one? And we both know, if we put our emotions aside, our loyalty aside, you take Wemby. You're out of your mind if you turn Wemby down long run. But you can't. Some deals you can't make because of the circumstance. You just can't make.
Yeah, you have to gauge fan what they're
actually. Exactly. Now, Wemby coming to the Knicks. Wemby is going to be out there. Listen, Wemby's game could improve. It could be better. You just don't make that deal. The only exception would be, hypothetically, if you have a 25-year-old Michael Jordan, he comes back to life in his prime and the Bulls call you, they say, we don't like his attitude, we'll trade him for Brunson one-on-one. The Knicks fans would condone that. They would be, we love Jalen Brunson, but how can we turn down Michael Jordan?
Wemby's going to become the big villain in the NBA. I really believe that. People are going to root him. Yeah, I mean, he's going to be the guy and the anti-hero in the entire sport. So, as a Net fan, I mean, you got the ping pong balls went the wrong way for you. Are you excited at all?
I remember years ago when Steph Curry was in the draft, and he went number 7, and he was projected by a lot of people to go there, and we see this kid from Davidson, whatever. You know, he has potential, this and that. And the Knicks went 8th in that draft, one spot off. But at the Knicks really been high on Steph Curry, you make a deal. With the team going number, 5 or 6, if Steph Curry wasn't picked yet, you flip-flop your picks and you give him your number 1 for next year if you really think that's someone who's going to be a great player. You know, Joe Dumars did that for the Pelicans with Derek Queen. He flip-flopped. He gave them an additional number 1 next year. Right. And the jury's still out on Derek Queen. He's a good player. He's a very good player. And he might turn out to be a great player, but the jury's still out. But can you imagine if a team makes a bold move and you get Steph Curry is a generational player?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Yeah, one of the all-time greats. But are there any ones in this draft? There are going to be a couple of players in this draft. No. Keith, there's a couple of future Hall of Famers in this draft. It's identifying them. As far as Peterson goes, I keep away from him. If he goes to Utah's not functioning with Ace Bailey, Peterson. Derek Clayton hasn't quite worked. You know, Derek Clayton could have been used a little better there. You know, he was the other number 1 pick last year.
Very dysfunctional franchise right now.
Utah, the pieces aren't fitting. That's the problem. There's talent.
If there's a guy that might drop in this draft, it might be Peterson because of the questions surrounding him at Kansas. But they draft raw talent, right? So they're gonna he's gonna go 1, 2, or 3.
If he falls to the Nets at number 6, you grab him.
Oh, that was gonna be my question for you.
My feeling is if you have other players you could be high on, you take them ahead of Peterson. I think the net, if Arkoff falls to number 6, the Nets, the kid from Arkansas, he's short, but he's a prolific scorer, got all this talent. The Nets are lucky. They might luck out in this draft if he's that number 6. And
I think where you really luck out is if Caleb Wilson falls back to the Nets is where you might luck out, because I like Caleb Wilson. Of all these guys, the guy that I'd want is Caleb Wilson in the top 6 or 7 picks.
And also you kind of wonder the Nets strategy retroactively. Last year they had 4 number 1s. Why were they screwing around and keeping all those number 1s that they could have traded, for future considerations? I mean, trade 2 of those late number 1s for another team's 1 number 1 for the next year, the year after that. And that other number 1 may have been a high pick for the Nets. I mean, they got a bunch of guys who, for the most part, weren't going to help them long term. And then they have Michael Porter there. Give me a break. I mean, Porter's there to pick up a paycheck for the Nets.
I know kids love the AJ DePantsai from BYU, who's projected at the top, 1 or 2. To me, I worry about that pick because I can't think of a guy who came out of BYU and ever made it in the NBA. Jimmer Fredette.
Sean Bradley.
Yeah, he was just he took up space. He wasn't
7'6". It was intriguing.
He wasn't even a good player. Jimmer Fredette came out of there in the top 10 or right around the top 10. And
he never
lit it up in college and was nothing in the NBA. I wonder about DePantsai and how he projects going forward.
Wait. I watched the documentary yesterday that was out a while ago. I hadn't seen with Paul Westhead, Loyola Marymount. Yep. Why didn't Bo Kimball? Why wasn't he a force at all in the NBA? How come he didn't make it in the NBA? It was a real flop, but he came in with a lot of fanfare, and they signed a long contract.
He was a product of that system they ran in Loyola. I mean, he scored a lot of points because they scored a lot of points, and somebody had to score them. He was a good player, college player. He got drafted by the Knicks, if I remember right, and he got buried there. He barely got off.
And I also think what Clyde Frazier said.
That's a very good documentary.
I saw Clyde Frazier play in college in the holiday tournament. I was impressed. I was for Illinois. Yeah. I was impressed, super impressed watching him in college. But Clyde Frazier said something that made a lot of sense. It's different now. At that time, you had 1 good game in the NCAA tournament, and your draft stock rose up tremendously. Now they look at the bigger picture. All this game film, this, that, the combines, you're working out for a team.
It's interesting to look back. If Southern Illinois hadn't come to the Garden at NIT, Clyde may never have been a Knick.
I saw that game, Keith. I saw that game. I was a kid, and I remember thinking, this guy, he's outstanding.
We're going to do a little test right now. I'm going to throw these at you every once in a while. Yeah. The nickname of the Southern Illinois sports teams is what?
The not alumni.
The Illini is Illinois.
Illini, yeah.
Southern Illinois is the Salukis. I don't even know what a Saluki is. I think it's a dog.
Yeah, that's some Greek food.
Rick brings up Danny Ainge. Danny Ainge was he was a pretty good player.
Yeah, very good.
He's probably the best player to come out of BYU as far as total.
Okay, let me get quick. Danny Ainge was a major league pitcher. Who did he pitch for?
He played third base actually for Toronto.
Well, he didn't pitch. He played third.
Not
I think it was Drew Henson. He played third.
Drew Henson. We drafted.
Danny Ainge didn't pitch.
No. We might have pitched in college. He didn't pitch in the major leagues. He played third base.
Okay.
For the Blue Jays. Drew Henson was drafted by the Yankees. Never played the major leagues. So, but Danny Ainge was a fine player. Curious how you handle young players with attitude issues in a time where we're in an epidemic of self-entitlement. That's always
Chris, how you handle them. You give the coach full authority, and I'm talking about professional players, not just college, and I'm talking about veteran players, all players. If a player has an attitude, just put him on the bench and wait him out. Wait him out. He's not going to like being on the bench, and if he decides he's not showing up and he tries to force a trade, just don't trade him. Let him sit out. He won't get paid. Let him sit out the darn season. Yeah, I step in if I'm an owner, if I think the coach has issues. Sometimes coaches have issues. It's not always the player's fault, but you have to surmise the situation.
And that's why sometimes you got to draft guys from certain programs because you know they're not going to be an attitude problem.
Cameron Boozer, for example.
Boozer would be the best.
But then again, Kyrie Irving was from the Duke program, and he was a handful, but with
not going to have
Cleveland.
100%.
And it depends whether you have veteran leadership there. If you have veteran leadership, it keeps a young guy in line. Kyrie was in line at Cleveland because LeBron was the main guy there.
Yeah.
Okay. But there's certain programs where a young guy could have an attitude. But Pistons are lucky. Kate Cunningham seems to have a good attitude there. Anthony Edwards seems to get a little bit of a bum rap, but Anthony Edwards really doesn't give coaches hard times or other players. He seems to be a happy-go-lucky guy.
Yeah.
But he's not trouble, but he's given that image.
I
but
agree.
Certain guys could be a handful.
Yeah. Danny straightens me out. Bo Kimball was drafted by the Clippers.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. I had a feeling the Knicks didn't draft him. I
knew he ended up buried on the Knicks. That's all I remember. So.
Well, yeah, the reason he lasted that long, Danny, 3 years or 4, whatever, is because he had a long-term contract. So it wasn't easy to cut him. When you're paying a guy, you keep him around.
Good morning, Linda.
Cool, Linda.
And I was right. Saluki is a dog. I thought it was. So.
Yeah, I didn't know. I honestly don't care what a Saluki is. But
you just blown up on your mascots because I'm going to be calling this college football season. So get ready. What else? Anything else in the NBA you want to touch on before I move on?
No, I mean, the NBA, the draft is tomorrow. We'll see what unfolds. I guess the biggest story, if there has to be a bigger story right now, of course, it's who the Wizards are going to take at number 1. We don't know. Maybe we'll be shocked. Maybe there'll be a trade. Maybe there will be a trade. Giannis wants to go to a contender, but he might not. Can you imagine they trade Giannis for the second
up in Washington,
third pick? Because let me tell you, it goes to Washington. You put him beside Anthony Davis and Trae Young. Basketball is fun in Washington all of a sudden.
No, maybe. Maybe. The history won't be. But we'll see. Listen, speaking of drafts, Brendan Sorsby continues to be in the news because of the supplemental draft, which he's not been okayed for by the NFL yet, and they haven't even set a date. Probably a month from now or within the next month would be the NFL supplemental draft. I have said on this show and other shows that nobody's going to take a shot at him unless it's a 5th, 6th, 7th round pick, because you have to forfeit that pick in the next real draft. I'm reading this weekend that there are whispers and this is from like NFL insiders, that there may be a team in the 2nd round that will take Brendan Sorsby, and that's quite a flyer and a chance to take, I think, at this point.
I think that could be a brilliant move. If you really believe he is potentially a starting quarterback in the NFL, that could be an absolutely brilliant move, because like we talk about getting bargains, you got to take a chance sometimes, because especially some of these better teams that are drafting, very high in the draft because they have a good record.
Yeah.
You're never going to get a quarterback of, top caliber. And if you have a veteran on a team, maybe you take a chance. Look, I'll give you an example.
But if you're
the Buccaneers Buccaneers, what would the Buccaneers have to lose? They're not fully committed to Baker Mayfield because, long term, you'd get a guy like Sorsby, and if you're giving up a 2nd round draft pick, you're still getting to keep your number one. You could survive that.
Second, third, fourth round draft picks are very valuable in the NFL, and that's where you.
And who are you going to take? If Sorsby was available in the second round, you would take him anyway. If he was in the draft, so get him now when you can.
If that's the case, and you would have taken him in the second round in the real draft, then yes, you do that.
Right.
But if you're a team that needs a lot of stuff and you're going to forfeit your second round pick next year, I'm not so sure you do that.
Case, you ask yourself this: if you're a team, if I'm the owner, I sit down with my personal people, I'll say, look, if he was available in the draft this year, would we have taken him in the second or third round? Yes or no? If they say, yeah, we would have taken him maybe in the second, definitely the third, I'll say, okay, do what you want to do here. If the answer is no, we would have waited to the fourth, fifth round, I'd say, no, we're not giving up a second. We're not jumping the gun on him.
I will tell you that my own opinion is if he had played this college season at Texas Tech, he would have been the second quarterback to go next year at worst. But nobody.
He would have gone. He would have gone ahead of Ty Simpson. You would have rated him ahead.
Yes.
Of Ty Simpson.
Yes.
Yeah. But wasn't it you who said that Will Levis was going to the Hall of Fame?
Yes, I wouldn't. I'm not saying.
And Cade Klubnik, what were you saying? What were you saying? I don't know what you were saying. I'm asking you about Cade Klubnik, who was taken in the fourth round by the Jets with their second selection in the fourth round. They moved up to get him in the fourth.
I think it's worth the gamble.
No. You didn't let me. I'm sorry. I talked too slow. A year ago, what were you saying before last season?
Oh, he probably would have been the third quarterback, I would say. Before the season, he would have been, at worst, the third quarterback.
Okay, so
at worst.
So we agree on this, Keith. Quarterbacks, their stock changes drastically 100%. In college year to year. 100%. I mean, a case in point is going to be this upcoming season where Trinidad Chambliss is going to jump up the pecking order substantially.
I brought this on myself. I thought I could get a show without you talking about Trinidad Chambliss, and I failed because I brought it on myself. But I set you up for that. Trinidad Chambliss will end up like the seventh best quarterback in that draft next year.
Trinidad Chambliss next year in the draft, he's going to be a first rounder, depending on who he goes to.
Danny, remember this conversation, please. Somebody remember it because I'll forget it. No, I won't forget this, actually. Jack's talked too much about Trinidad Chambliss. When he goes into third round or fourth round.
The guy is the next. It's like you bypass on Trinidad Chambliss, you know who you're bypassing on. You're bypassing on Brett Favre. That's who you're bypassing on in the draft. You're not. It's like Brett Favre's there for you to be drafted, and you're not taking him.
Where'd he get picked?
I think second round. Yeah, teams made that mistake.
Yeah.
He
was a great quarterback. He's a great quarterback.
Or Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers had to wait. They thought he'd be drafted higher. I think that's a better example, maybe Aaron Rodgers. I mean, will he be as good as Rodgers? I'm not.
It's different. Rodgers
is an all-time great, but Trinidad Chambliss, it'll be in the same category as Aaron Rodgers, maybe a little behind when all is said and done, but he'll be in the same category.
Rodgers, I was looking at something Rick put up there. Rodgers was a different animal, though. He was projected to be a top 5 pick, and he fell all the way to the 20s. So
you're put Rick's 37%. That's a lot of stock, Rick. 37%.
Well, I think he's referring to your 37% Nick fan.
Yeah, I'm not a Nick fan. I'm a Nick Ruda. A Nick supporter.
We've made that clear.
Yeah.
Let's just. I want to talk. We don't talk a lot of tennis, but let's talk tennis because there is big news coming into Wimbledon. Serena Williams came out of retirement at 40. What is she? 44. 44. She played the Berlin Open. I think she won a match, lost a match, but she was decided she was going to play doubles with her sister Venus, who's 46, I believe, at Wimbledon. And now Serena's also going to play singles. Can she come back and compete at 40?
No, it's not happening. Look, she was past her peak 4 years ago. Past her peak, and Hun Venus Do something in doubles, maybe. I don't know. There's less running in doubles, so on. They're experienced. They played a lot of doubles together in the past, the sisters. Maybe in
I won
doubles.
a lot of championships too.
Right, exactly. Singles, Venus isn't doing anything. She's just not. But you want to know something? The idea that she's playing, let her enjoy herself. Certain athletes are entitled to feel entitled. They should. She's earned it.
She's earned something for sure.
Venus has earned everything. As being one of the all-time greats. I'm not talking the greatest women tennis player of all time in my view, but just an iconic athlete like Venus. It's the same with Tiger Woods, Keith. When Tiger Woods is playing a golf tournament, more people are tuning in. More people are interested in seeing Tiger Woods play than the elite golfers. And of course, every tournament, we hear the same question. Well, do you think Tiger Woods has a chance? No, he doesn't. But the talk is there. Venus has more of a chance than Tiger Woods.
Serena, you mean Serena? You mean
Serena Williams?
Yeah, you said Venus.
Her sport. But Serena, to actually win these tournaments, for Serena to win Wimbledon, in singles, it's such a long shot.
I think if she wins a match, that'll be a good story if she wins a match.
And also if the Williams sisters, who knows with doubles? Let them play.
Compete. They can compete in doubles, I think.
And listen, if she is competitive in singles, loses playing the other top players, hangs in there. Just the idea you're seeing a legend, on the tennis court. It's like any other sport. It's like I was thinking the other day, like Mike Trout, for example. Mike Trout, to me, is you could argue he's an all-time great player, but he's gotten buried in the Angel organization. The Mike Trout, and now, if I tell you, do you think Mike Trout could become the best player in the game again?
No.
You doubt it. No, because he's older, has had injuries, is this, is that. Is it possible? There's always a chance of a resurgence. Look at Paul Goldschmidt with the Yankees. Isn't he having a resurgence? Who would have seen that coming?
I hope it continues. That's all I can say.
Yeah. But we want to see him out there anyway.
Danny, Danny's got a good one. I'm glad you brought this up, Danny. We've got a great Game 3 final elimination game between North Carolina and Oklahoma today in NCAA College Baseball World Series. They've had two games that were gone both ways. Oklahoma won 9-3 in game one. North Carolina won 6-2 yesterday. This shapes up as a great and I love college baseball. I think sometimes it's better than watching Major League Baseball, quite frankly. But kudos to those two teams. And I like North Carolina to win this game, by the way, just to bring that up. What's Danny got here? I'll come back to yours, Chris, before we go.
Danny's making a little remark. I don't think anyone is rooting against Serena in this.
Not the same way as Tiger. Not the same way as Tiger, that's for sure.
No. But I actually think Tiger, as miserable a guy as he's been, I think on all these tournaments he's been a sentimental favorite. People forget the negativity of these athletes. Look, who's the biggest jerk of all in tennis? It's John McEnroe. The way he acted and so on, and
some people say
but he's hired as a commentator, and he's a good commentator. Loves the game. He's not. I thought John McEnroe
didn't have the drama off the court either. There's a lot of things. John McEnroe was never Tiger Woods big. Big, but not Tiger Woods big. And Danny's actually right. People root against Tiger because we have to watch Tiger play when he's, 5 over par and not the good players who are leading the tournament. That's why people root against Tiger.
Yeah. But Tiger's around. Look, Arnold Palmer was a legacy all those years, but he was given the good guy image. Everyone loves Jack Nicklaus, but the most loved golf of all time is probably Arnold Palmer.
100%.
Yeah. Jack Nicklaus is the greatest of all time. Tiger was trending towards being the greatest. Maybe at peak value, Tiger was the best at peak value. I don't know, but
What do
and
we get here?
Serena Martina Navratilova. I mean, I would say Serena was the better of the two. Serena, to me, is the greatest women's tennis player. I know Margaret Court has the most majors,
I
but
think there's
Serena's
a
the
lot of
best.
good ones.
Serena's the best.
I would say Serena would probably beat all of them. Everett, Navratilova, Billie Jean King. I think she beat them all.
No, Everett's not in the same class as, for the most
Chris
part.
Everett? I think
others.
she is. I think she is. But John
No,
Rockamole.
she's not. She's not as good. She's not as good. Don't compare. Say she's as good as Martina. Martina owned Chris Everett head to head for the most part.
You know,
Once they were both in their prime.
I don't know that Eli gets into this most hated conversation, though. Is that?
How's Eli hated? No one dislikes.
Oh, he might mean somebody other than Eli Manning. Maybe it's Eli Nastasi. Remember Eli?
Eli Nastasi, right? Well, he was a bad boy at tennis, but not a great player. Jimmy Connor's buddy, and Nastasi used to always beat Connors in the beginning, and Connors was an entertaining bad boy, but the difference between Connors and McEnroe is this. McEnroe didn't like people. Connors loved the people.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Connors did it all for the fans.
Yep.
McEnroe did it despite the fans.
There's some great video out there. I love Jimmy.
That's why Connors was so loved. And
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Jack, anything in boxing? You got the Glove Fish show coming up tonight with Frank Laterzo. Anything we should need to know about boxing or anything going into this?
Well, I mean, we're still waiting on the Tyson Fury Anthony Joshua fight, what's going to take place. It belongs in the UK because it would be the biggest fight in the history of the UK. But of course, boxing being boxing, it might wind up in the USA. It remains to be seen. And this Saturday night, big fight at the Barclays Center, Boots Ennis, against Sanders Zayas. I'm going to be there ringside. So, big fight.
Good stuff. Anyway, he meant Eli Nastasi. There we go. Thank you, Danny. I wondered, Eli, where'd that come from? Anyway, good show today, Jack. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll wrap it up. We'll see you Friday, and we'll recap the NBA draft, and maybe Giannis will be traded. Maybe there'll be some other trades we need to talk about, and
Milwaukee's wanted to trade Giannis before the draft, so there might be some big news.
Big news this week for sure.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Everybody have a great day, and we'll see you on Friday morning, 8 a.m. Bye-bye, guys.
Go USA.
And we'll have that news.